Happy Death Day, which is this sort of satirical horror movie. Young college student wakes up in a boys' dorm with a mighty hangover. It's her birthday, as her phone tells her, and she thinks that things couldn't possibly get any worse. You know, she's woken up after a terrible night out, and she's in this strange dorm, and then she goes back to her place, sorority, I think they call them, where, you know, everybody's sort of being sort of snarky, and she knows there's going to be there's like a surprise party coming up, and it's all very, very terrible. And she thinks things couldn't possibly get any worse until, in an underpass, she's pursued by a guy with a baby face mask and a knife. And then she wakes up in the same dorm on the same day to the same sound of the same phone doing the "Hey, it's your birthday." Yes, that's right. It's Groundhog Slay. Here's a clip.
Look, I know this isn't going to make any sense, but I have already lived through this day. Twice.
Tree,
No, believe me, I know it sounds totally crazy, but this is happening to me, I swear to God.
Tree, I'm sure it feels like you're
living Okay, you made me a cupcake for my birthday, right? You're about to give it to me, and then later on tonight there's a surprise party.
Who told you? Was it back here?
No, nobody told me. That's what I mean. Don't you see? I know what is going to happen before it happens. Lori, somebody's gonna kill me tonight.
In the reviews of the film, it cost not very much at all and opened very, very strongly in America, and it's easy to see why, because I think it's a real crowd pleaser. In the reviews, people were saying it's Groundhog Day meets Scream, which I think that's not quite right. I mean, if you look back at movies like Happy Birthday to Me, or even that episode of The Twilight Zone, I mean, that idea about, you know, the sort of satirical idea which is at the heart of this is one which you can trace back a long way. I mean, people were making self-reflexive slasher movies long before Scream made sort of post-modernity hip. But I think in the case of this, it's well done. It's done with, you know, an amount of wit and pizzazz. It's a kind of fun, slightly teasery popcorn slasher film that is aware of its own genre conventions and makes jokes about the films to which it's referring, but not in that kind of utterly self-reflexive Scream way. And I think I when I went into it, I knew very little about it. Obviously, if anyone's seen the trailer and the setup, you'll know more than I did. But what I found was, it took its idea. It's a simple idea. It's a fairly familiar idea. There is a gag about how familiar the idea is. Incidentally, a Groundhog Day gag, but it does it well. It lets it play out well. It does it in a way which is kind of pleasing. It plays with genre conventions just the right amount. It's not scary, but what it is it's kind of, you know, that thing when you see a scary movie that you laugh along with, not laugh at, but laugh along with. It's sort of fun. It's much more fun than I expected it to be, and I can understand exactly why it's done as well as it has. It's surprisingly entertaining and surprisingly sharp.
And is that why it's not scary?
No. I mean, I think if you're a teen audience and there are moments in it. I mean, for me, a scary horror movie is Dawn of the Dead. For me, a scary horror movie is something like, well, I mean, The Exorcist, obviously. I know it's that kind of sense of dread. This doesn't have that. This is much more in the sense of it being, you know, that kind of the sort of teen slasher genre played around with. But I thought it was played around with it, you know, rather fun. It's an entertaining popcorn movie. I thought it was fun.